Hello, every future AI artists. Welcome to today's lecture. Have you ever generated a relatively satisfactory character but struggled with the randomness of AI character generation, making it difficult to create relatively consistent characters? In this lecture, we are going to talk about generating relatively consistent characters. Taking the character we generated in a previous lecture as an example, if I ask you to generate multiple different views of this character, how would you do it? Note that I added the premise of pre-specified. The method we are going to introduce today is to use multi-view images of a 3D model to assist in image generation. We will use the character image to generate a 3D low-resolution model and use its 6 different views of low-resolution images as a reference to generate high-resolution images. First, I have prepared these folders to store the various parts of the character. Why do we need to do this? You will know soon. Open this page. This is the tool we are going to use. It can convert the 2D image you give it into multiple views of the image it predicts and generate a 3D model. Click on Hugging Face Demo. Drag our character in. Keep these parameters at their default values. Adjust this value to 250. If this value is too small, it will cause the character to occupy a very small proportion in the image. Click Generate. First, it will completely remove the background of your character, and then predict the images of the different views. Images from different perspectives have been generated. You can see that the image quality is low, but it's okay. At this stage, we only need a rough outline. Download these images one by one. Let's rename the files in sequential order. Drag them into the full body folder. Back to Affinity Photo, we need to crop the upper body of the character. Select the Crop tool. Crop the complete hand image. Export it as a PNG file. Put it in the upper body folder. Similarly, drag the upper body in to generate the image. The result is out, but the upper body is slightly small in proportion to the image. Adjust the crop size to 250 and click Generate. This way, the proportion of the upper body in the image is increased. Download each image one by one. Rename them and drag into the upper body folder. Press Ctrl and Z key to undo the operation. Then, crop the lower body. Put it in the lower body folder. Drag it in and click Generate. Download them as before. Rename and drag into the lower body folder. Press Ctrl and Z. This time, crop the area above the chest. Adjust the selection box to make it close to a 1:1 ratio. Export the image and drag it in. Click Generate. The steps are the same, so I won't explain again. Don't worry about the lack of facial detail for now. Drag it into the Face folder. Next, we need to combine these images into a character set with 6 different angles. Create a new canvas. Set the width and height to 1024 and 1536. Go to the Full Body folder. Select the images we generated and drag them into the image editing software. Place them in the top left corner and enlarge while holding the Shift key. Arrange them evenly. Don't worry if some areas are covered, as we can quickly fix it using a mask. For example, select this image. Click on the mask, press B to select the brush tool, press X to switch to black. Brush the covered area. Since the process is the same, I'll skip the process and show the finished result. Basic processing is done. Select all layers and click the lock button on the right. Select the top layer, right-click, and choose Merge Visible. Select all layers below and hide them. Select the first layer and reduce the opacity to 20%. We want to use this image as the base. Next, we will process the character's upper body. Select the first image and drag it in. Press Ctrl and scroll the mouse wheel to zoom in. Scale the image and put it in the right place. Reduce the image's transparency to 50% to help us find the right position. You can see the white edge at the bottom. We will use a mask to cover it. The next few steps are the same. Some similar processes follow. It might be a bit tedious to show all of them, so I'll just show the results directly. I will also put the source files in the course's resource folder. If you're interested, you can download and take a look. The character's lower body follows the exact same process. Finally, we'll move in the face part of the image. There are some obvious seams in some areas, which we will adjust later. We'll adjust the transparency of the frontmost layer to 100%. Since there are many layers, I'll quickly play through the adjustment process. Now we can address these seam issues. In fact, we just need to make a simple fix to make the seams less obvious. First, merge visible, then create a new layer. Press I to select the eyedropper tool, pick the color near the seam, press B to switch to the brush tool, press X to select the color you just picked. Brush over the seam. A brush with 100% opacity might look a bit harsh, so we can reduce the opacity and flow to 40%. This way the brush over the seam will blend in nicely and not look too abrupt. I'll speed up the process. Alright, we're finally done. Export the image and go back to the web UI. Send to image to image. We need to adjust the prompt, remove front view, and add design reference sheet. Adjust the width and height to 1024 and 1536. Reduce the CFG scale to 9. Lower the denoise value to 0.4 and adjust the seed value to -1. Enable this. Add more detailed facial descriptions such as eye color. Here I will use a larger in-paint size, such as 1024, to make the facial features more delicate. Next, I want to make sure tiled diffusion is turned off, as we don't need it here. Also, check the control net and turn it off as well. Drag in the reference image we prepared. Use this image as a reference to generate the image. This process may take a while, so you can go make a cup of coffee and come back. The image has been generated. Let's take a look. You can see that the original image has been restored quite well, and the character also has a certain consistency. However, there are still some areas that I think are not quite good, but it's okay, we can adjust them later. A typical one is the hair in the character's back view, so next I will adjust her hair. I use 2 layers here. The first layer is the generated image, and the second layer is the previous reference image. Add a mask to the first layer. Select the mask. Use a black brush to paint her head area. Export the image. Go back to the web UI. Click on InPaint, then drag the image in. Paint the head and braid areas. Change our prompt to back view. Check only masked. Adjust the width and height to 1024. Set the denoise to 0.45. Make sure other unrelated modules are turned off. Generate the image. This way her hair part meets our expectations. If you feel that some parts don't meet your expectations, you can adjust them later. For example, the cloak on the shoulders, the decoration on the head, and the armor on the back. We can adjust all these elements. The specific processes are similar to what I mentioned in this class. Later, I will release an image that I have adjusted further. I did some basic adjustments. You can see that the decoration on the head here has been corrected. The armor on the side, the back armor is the same. Of course, you can still find other inconsistent parts to repair, such as her pants, some black, and some khaki. I used tiled diffusion to upscale the adjusted image by 2 times. This is the result after enlargement. You can see that the image is very detailed. Well, I believe you have learned how to transform a specific character image into a multi-view character design. That's all for today's lecture. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next lecture.